China may be getting back into the fertilizer game, but rising prices at home could change that fast. In North America, widespread rain is helping ease tight supplies, and potash is holding steady. But with tensions rising in Russia and Ukraine, new sanctions could shake up the whole market. I'm Johanna Bota, and joining us today is StoneX's Vice-President of Fertilizer, Josh Linville. Welcome back, Josh. Let's start with some positive news. Could China be gearing up to restart phosphate and urea exports as CIQ inspections get underway?
It sure looks that way. CIQ is their way of determining what is leaving the country. That's their way of controlling the flow so that they don't overdo what they're doing. For those that are unaware, customs inspection and quarantine periods. So those are starting to ramp up. So that is giving us once again hope that we're finally starting to see products starting to leave. And again, when you look at phosphate, China's the largest exporter in the world. When they weren't exporting, that's a major supply loss to everybody else around the globe. Urea, same thing. They represent 10% of the global urea marketplace. They haven't exported much of anything since 2022. So seeing them ramp up. It's been a great situation. We're finally getting some more supply, but we still got to wonder how much are we really going to get?
Any idea of what the numbers are looking like?
It still sounds like, and we don't have this fully, it sounds like we've gotten every single detail except for the tonnages. But so far, based on everything we're talking to, hearing the rumors, it sounds like urea, we're expecting about 2 million ton, which is going to fall fairly well short of their 5 to 5.5 million, but it's better than what last year was. Phosphate, DAP, MAP, we're expecting somewhere around 4 million ton. For reference, they normally export 9 to 10 million ton. So a drastic drop off there.
All right, so now let's turn to North America, where there's been a lot of heavy rain. Is this helping rebuild fertilizer supplies before the next round of applications?
Absolutely. It's been massive, and that's what we've been missing for a lot of the spring season. We just hadn't had that big event that slowed the entire market down. Everybody was able to get out there, everybody got started, and then nobody ever stopped. And the market just struggles to keep up with that. Demand never stops. Supplies can't keep up with it. The system just isn't built for that. We're finally starting to see these massive rain events come through the Midwest. It's great for the crop, but it's great for the system to give it a little bit of a chance to get those tons showing up for round two.
Okay, and let's move to potash now, where values are holding steady. Now, can prices really stay flat or even go higher?
Absolutely. And if you look at what the manufacturers have been doing, they are trying so hard to keep the price up. Personally speaking, I think a little bit of it is it could be a little bit of envy on the phosphate and urea markets. When you look at nitrogen, margins are massive for a lot of manufacturers around the world. When you look at phosphate, margins are massive for the tons that are actually being produced and exported. Potash has been kind of quiet. It's gone back to being potash. Price has been steady, but manufacturers have been trying to push the price higher. They're going out and saying, "Oh, we're talking about a $20 ton increase. Oh, we've taken our price sheet up $20 a ton." But I'll tell you what, if you come to me very, very quickly, I can still get you that sweetheart deal. They're trying to spur the market into doing something. So you got the manufacturing side fighting harder than we've seen over the last few years to try and get this price to go up or stay steady. Whereas at the same time, our global point of view is still the supplies are very, very solid in a very well supplied marketplace. Prices don't need to move all that much. So it's going to be an interesting fight. You got the buyers wanting prices down a little bit. You want manufacturers wanting to go up. We got a heck of a fight going on in the potash market.
Where does Russia and Belarus come in this storyline?
They are the second and third largest exporters in the world. Now, for reference, combined, they don't touch Canada, who sits in the first spot, but they are still major, major exporters. And of course, when the invasion of Ukraine happened by Russia, Belarus helped participate with that. They allowed Russia to move troops across their border and to try and attack Kiev from the north. Well, Lithuania is who Belarus used to ship their product to out to their deep sea ports and around the world. Lithuania took offense to that, closed down its borders, and suddenly Belarus was cut from the world. Their exports went to near zero. They've been working, fighting, trying to find new supply routes. And now, today, they've been successful, and Russia's been continuing to ramp up their own production. If you look, those two countries combined, their exports today of potash is higher than it was pre invasion level.
Wow. Well, as the Russia-Ukraine war intensifies and as you've been seeing and following the news, peace talks falter, is the risk growing that the EU and US will block Russian fertilizer exports? And what does that mean?
we've actually seen the EU take more firm steps towards blocking Russian fertilizer. And of course, the EU is looking at it and saying, we're supporting Ukraine, but we're sending Russia all this money, which Russia is using to spend on the war. They're using this to buy munitions and things like that. Why are we doing this? And so it looks like they are truly going to take steps to block those flows, which, from a political standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world. They do not want to support them. They do not want to give them funds. Unfortunately, it's their farmers that will pay the price because that's losing a very efficient trade route. Now they got to go around the rest of the world. Same thing with the US. We've not seen quite the same vigor, if you will, about trying to block them. But we also know how President Trump works. If Putin refuses to come to the table, we know how quickly Trump acts, how violently he can react. We could literally wake up tomorrow and see brand new tariffs on Russia, and suddenly we lose that arm of fertilizer flows, which has been a major competitor against domestic production, helping to lower prices.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. And thank you for watching. For more financial content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.